His Excellency Jackson Karugaba Kafuuzi, the Deputy Attorney General of Uganda.
The President of the Assembly of States, state parties, heads of delegations of representatives of state parties, judges of the International Criminal Court, the prosecutor of the International Criminal Court, officers of the International Criminal Court, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Madam President, on behalf of my country, I take this opportunity to salute you for the excellent manner in which you have steered the business of this Assembly since your election, and to assure you of my country's support and cooperation in all your work. I also want to take this opportunity to congratulate Mr. Peter Lewis on completing his successful term as Registrar of the ICC. As a country, we are cognizant of the contributions of Mr. Peter Lewis to the ICC and would want to ensure that his achievements are sustained. In this regard, Madam President, Uganda has fielded a highly competent, efficient, and experienced female candidate who we are confident will build on Peter Lewis's legacy, especially in reinforcing, bridging the gender gap and geographical diversity gaps in the recruitment of senior staff at the court, and taking justice closer to the affected communities, and building partnerships with state parties, civil society, and all stakeholders. I believe that every state party will agree with me that the time to end the 20-year reign of one geographical region holding the office of the registrar is now. A registrar who is familiar and has experience working with a geographical region where all the cases before the court are based is what we need. It is time for an African registrar. Madam President, allow me to reiterate to this Assembly Uganda's unwavering commitment to the fight against impunity within its borders and beyond. As we have previously done, we wish to remind this Assembly that Uganda was the first state in January 2004 to make a referral to the International Criminal Court following the coming into force or existence of the court less than 2 years before, in 2002. Uganda has continued to contribute to the work of the court when called upon, and we will continue to do more to meet our obligations. Madam President, in keeping with the promise to keep the victims at the core of the court's mandate, Uganda hosted the second monitoring visit to northern Uganda last October. We are grateful for the initiative taken by the Irish government to organize this visit to Uganda and for the support from the governments of Belgium, Estonia, Liechtenstein, New Zealand, and the Trust Fund for Victims. They facilitated this important mission that enabled the exploration of how assistance is rendered to the victims and made recommendations on lessons learned from the Northern Uganda experience, which we hope we will have an opportunity to deliberate upon at the side event today. This last monitoring visit attracted not only state parties, but also observers from non-state parties who we believe are keen on working with us to ensure that justice for victims of the Rome Statute crimes is granted. Uganda welcomes the recent request from the prosecutor to hold a hearing on confirmation of charges against Joseph Kony, the leader of the LRA, Lord's Resistance Army, in his absence. If granted, this long overdue opportunity will kickstart advancing the cause of justice for the thousands of victims who have waited for 3 decades to see this happen. It would be a little glimmer of hope. Uganda will, as we have done the last 2 decades, work closely with the court in performing its mandate both within the country and elsewhere on the African continent. We hope to remain reliable, committed partners to the court in the pursuit of its mandate. We welcome the setting of the date for the delivery of the appeals judgment in the case of Dominic Ongwen on 15th December. It is our hope that this historic trial judgment will be confirmed so that the victims can move on the reparations phase. We appeal to state parties to consider increasing resources to support the work of the Trust Fund for victims so that we can make justice available and meaningful. Madam President, international justice is costly. As state parties, we are continually asking for more of the court without matching these demands with commensurate growth in the budget. We call upon the Assembly to commit to the court's global mandate by providing the court with financial, political, and practical support. No victims of the Rome Statute crimes should be left feeling secondary to others, and this should be reflected in the way that we respond to all catastrophic situations as long as our mandate permits the court to intervene. Uganda will continue to work towards strengthening partnerships with state parties, civil society, and appropriate offices of the court and the Rome Statute mechanisms that spearhead work with victims and witnesses. Madam President, my government reiterates its support to the independent expert review report and looks forward to reflecting on the progress made on implementation of the recommendations, especially those recommendations that required drastic action, such as addressing gender parity and geographical diversity gaps in high levels of positions and improving efficiency in the court and dealing with the predatory behavior at the court. The disproportionate representation in high-level positions from other regions but Africa is a major concern to us all. The statistics received this November indicate that there is no female at the director level and likewise no African at that level. This should concern all of us and it needs to be addressed. Allow me to conclude by reiterating my country's keenness on continued close relationship with the court and by wishing everyone here great deliberations in the days to follow. Thank you very much.